I get the opportunity to do a variety of projects, and that helps to keep my days interesting. Over the years, I've always tried to make a point of learning new things. So anytime I've encountered anyone that knows a trade or a craft that I'm interested in, and they're willing to talk to me about it, I've picked their brains and asked them how they got into it and what they find interesting and how they would recommend someone who's wanting to follow in their path might want to go. Some of them have certainly been more helpful than others, but I've really never run into anyone who's not been willing to pass on some kind of information to be helpful. Which brings me to this week's video. I'm going to show you some of the projects, more unique projects that I have done, and then I'm going to mix them in with a project I just finished in the past week. Now, the one I just finished is certainly unique in its own right, and I haven't come up with quite the term to describe it beyond unique. To the homeowners, the best description is probably nostalgic, as it brings for them memories from the past into the present. For some of the rest of you, your reaction is probably going to be, well, that's kind of odd, that's sort of different. And the rest of us will probably fall in somewhere in between. So take a look, I think you'll enjoy it. This first project is one that tapped into everything I've ever learned from anyone about construction. The pieces that make up these curved pony walls on the ceiling were cut on my CNC machine. The countertops and bar top are made from solid surface material, which again was all cut on the CNC. This round bar top was a particular challenge because the material had to be seamed together to get the width that we needed. Then polishing the tops to get this kind of gloss took a lot of time. The cabinets are built to match cabinetry in the rest of the home, and the wine cellar is made from redwood. My son and I did all the finish work on this project. If you're wondering if we did the painting, the answer is no, we did not do that. The owners brought in an artist who painted this scene on the wall in just a few hours. Pretty amazing. The wine cellar is built against a curved wall, so we built the tall wine racks as freestanding units so we could adjust their positioning to match the curve of the wall. We estimated that the racks and bulk storage areas could handle nearly 300 bottles of wine. That pretty much exhausts my knowledge of wine cellars and wine. All that was missing for me was an iced tea dispenser. This next project takes us back to the practical reality of having enough room to fold clothes in a utility room. I built a laminate countertop over the washer and dryer to help with storage, but the owner still had no place to fold clothes. So here's the solution we came up with. When you don't need it, it's folded up out of the way. When you do need it, instant folding countertop. I realize this isn't like discovering penicillin, but you know. Alright, so here's the project that I just did this week and I don't have a real good description for. It isn't fancy or particularly practical, but it has some meaning to the owners. I wish there were a way to have you take a guess at what it is that I'm doing. One hint would be that it has to do with sports. I'm putting up some channel trim to enclose edges of tile that I'm going to set. I have a laser line exactly set on the edge where I'm screwing the channel in. I don't have to be concerned about hitting studs or making it any more secure than just screws and sheetrock because the tile mastic will also help hold it in place. Not only is this project nostalgic for the homeowners, but it's also a trip back in time for me. The type of tile I'm setting is 4 1/4 inch by 4 1/4 inch ceramic tile that used to be the standard tile that was installed in bathrooms, period. The color options were also pretty limited. You had oatmeal, salt and pepper, white, beige, and gold fleck, just to name a few. There's also a Moonstone series put out by a company called Monarch Tile that had sort of a lunar surface to the tile in various colors. And that was really stepping out to use that. But all the sizes were 4 1/4 inch by 4 1/4 inch tile. You had matching surface cap to finish the edges. The great thing about this type of ceramic tile is that it's fairly soft, which makes it easy to cut, and you can also use nippers to carve out areas of tile needed to go around wall plugs or faucets. This tile has built-in spacers on the edges, so once you have your foundation line of tile in place, you can fly in setting tile. A basic mastic for setting wall tile is all that's needed to hold the tile in place. If you trowel a V-notched bed of mastic on your wall, you can begin stacking the tile and popping it with your fist, only pausing to adjust the tile as needed. The spacers on the tile keep things pretty uniform. It's a rare occasion for me to be able to set tile in long stretches like this without having to make some sort of tricky cuts. I was able to break out my old tile cutter that I used to set tile in many tubs and showers. It's not often I get to use it anymore with the more popular types of tile used now. I have one last section to set before I'm done with this little tile project. I have to add that even though I have set a lot of this type of tile, I've never set it in colors like black and red. Next, I'm going to have to turn my attention to grouting it, and I'm sure you can already guess what the color is going to be. It's the next day, and I've taken all necessary precautions to protect anything that could get permanently discolored with this bright red grout. I've even worn a shirt today that's probably the best choice I could make for this grouting job. There will be a few casualties after I'm finished grouting, however. The sponges, bucket, and grout float I've used have seen their better days because there's no way to rinse them well enough to get the red pigment out of them. I even took my bucket of grout water with me back to the shop where I have areas I can dump it and mix it in with dirt. My wife happened to look out the window as I was pouring out the grout water and came to the door to check on me. She said it looked like I'd slaughtered something. All right, it's time to get to the point of all this. The homeowners are longtime Chicago Cubs fans. They have memorabilia they wanted to put out somewhere and figured what better way to do that than to display it on the wall they see when they drive into their garage. Every time they drive into their garage. Now that's what you call supporting your team. I regularly say there's always something going on around Dobbs' workshop, and this week is no different. So check back ever so often and see what you may have missed. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments below if you might be this kind of sports fan. If so, I might be your guy to do your fan wall. Half tile cutter will travel.